You wake up on January 1st, full of energy and plans. New year, new you. All that optimistic nonsense. You tell yourself this year will be different. You will savor every moment. You will be present. You will make memories. Fast forward and it is somehow December 31st again. Where did the year go? What happened to all those months? You scramble through your memory, trying to recall specific days, specific moments, but it is all just a blur. Work, sleep, scroll, repeat. The year vanished like water through your fingers, and you have no idea where it went. If this sounds familiar, hit that subscribe button right now, because we are about to explore one of the most unsettling phenomena of human consciousness, the relentless acceleration of time as you age. And before you dismiss this as just getting older, I need you to understand something. Time is not actually speeding up. The Earth is still taking 365 days to orbit the Sun. Your clock still ticks at exactly the same rate it always has. What is changing is happening inside your skull, in the 3 pounds of electric meat you call a brain. And the science behind why this happens is absolutely wild. So grab something warm to drink, dim those lights, get comfortable in your favorite spot, and let me know in the comments how old you are and honestly what year it still feels like in your head. Because I guarantee most of you are living mentally in a year that ended a while ago. Tonight we are diving deep into why time feels faster as you get older, the actual neuroscience and psychology behind it, and more importantly, what you can do about it before the next decade evaporates. This is going to get a little existential, maybe a little uncomfortable, but I promise it will be worth it. Let me paint you a picture. You are 8 years old, it is summer vacation, you wake up without an alarm, the morning sun already warming your bedroom. The whole day stretches out before you like an endless ocean. What will you do with all this time? Maybe you will ride your bike to your friend's house. Maybe you will build a fort. Maybe you will just lie in the grass and watch clouds. The possibilities feel infinite. You eat breakfast, some sugary cereal your parents usually restrict, and the milk turns colors that do not exist in nature. You head outside. The day unfolds slowly. Every hour feels full. By lunchtime it feels like you have already lived a whole day, but there is still afternoon, still evening, still so much time. You come home for lunch, maybe a sandwich, some chips, then back out into the world. You have a disagreement with your friend about whose turn it is on the swing. It feels monumentally important. You resolve it, or you do not. Either way, tomorrow is another day, and summer has barely started. By the time dinner rolls around, the day feels like it has lasted a week. You are pleasantly exhausted from all that living, and summer vacation itself. Summer is a lifetime. Between June and September, you become a different person. You learn to skateboard. You discover you hate pickles. You have 3 separate friendship dramas. You get bored, then unbored, then bored again. You read books. You build things. You break things. By the time school starts again, those 3 months feel like they contained entire story arcs, character development, plot twists. Summer vacation when you are 8 years old is not just 3 months. It is an epoch, an era, a substantial chunk of your existence. Now snap back to the present. Think about last summer. What did you do? Anything memorable? Or did June somehow become July, which somehow became September while you were busy answering emails and doing laundry? Maybe you took a vacation. Maybe you did not. Either way, the whole summer probably feels like it lasted about 2 weeks. 3 if you are being generous. So what changed between then and now? Did someone break physics? Did the universe glitch? Nope, your brain just got efficient. And efficiency, as it turns out, is the silent assassin of experiencing time. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Your brain is running on autopilot for most of your adult life. When you were a kid, everything was new. The first time you tasted coffee and immediately spit it out because why do adults drink this? The first time you realized you could lie and sometimes get away with it. The first time you stayed up past midnight and felt like an absolute rebel. Every single day brought new experiences, new information, new neural pathways being formed. Your brain was in constant high alert mode. It had to be. You were learning the rules of the world, how gravity works, how friendships work, how long you can go without eating before you get that weird shaky feeling. Your brain catalogued everything because it did not know yet what was important and what was not. So it recorded it all in high definition. When your brain is working that hard, when it is encoding new memories constantly, processing unfamiliar information, paying full attention to everything, time feels different. It feels slower and more substantial. Or more accurately, when you look back on that period, it feels like it lasted a long time because you have so many distinct memories from it. Think of memory like a bookshelf. When you are young, you are adding new books constantly, big thick books with illustrations and footnotes, and entire chapters dedicated to that time you found a cool stick, and it became your personality for 3 days. Your childhood bookshelf is packed. Every year of childhood has multiple volumes, but your adult brain operates differently. Your adult brain has seen most of this before. It knows the morning routine. It knows the commute. It knows the coffee shop order. So instead of recording everything in detail, it compresses. It takes shortcuts. It says, ah yes, another Tuesday. I have already got the template for this. No need to waste energy encoding every detail. You wake up, same alarm sound you have heard 4,000 times, same ceiling you have stared at every morning for years. Your brain does not even fully process it anymore. It is like a video game reusing the same background texture to save memory. You get out of bed, brush your teeth. Your brain shifts into autopilot mode. The tooth-brushing protocol. Subroutine number 47. Execute and do not bother me with the details. Shower, coffee. Your brain perks up slightly for coffee because caffeine, but even that is routine now. Same mug, same amount of sugar, same first sip that is always slightly too hot. Your commute is the same route you have taken hundreds of times. Your brain could navigate it while you are literally unconscious. In fact, it kind of does. You have had this experience, right? You arrive at work or back home, and you have absolutely zero memory of the drive. 20 minutes of your life just vanished into the void. Where did they go? Your brain decided that commute was so routine, so utterly predictable, that it did not bother recording it. It just ran the driving program in the background while your consciousness wandered off thinking about something else entirely. And when something is not recorded, when your brain does not write it to memory, it might as well have never happened. Poof, gone. 20 minutes of your finite existence on Earth, erased because your brain was being efficient. Now multiply this by every routine activity in your day. How much of your life are you actually present for? How much is happening on autopilot while you are mentally somewhere else? The answer is probably terrifying. Your brain is not trying to rob you. It is actually trying to help. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy despite being only 2% of your body weight. It is incredibly expensive to run. So it learned to optimize. It learned to recognize patterns and handle familiar situations with minimal resources. This was brilliant for most of human evolution. When you are a hunter-gatherer, you want routine tasks to be automatic. Gathering berries from the same bush for the 1,000th time does not need your full attention. That frees up your brain to stay alert for things that actually matter, like predators, or rival tribes, or new food sources, the novel and potentially dangerous stuff. But we are not hunter-gatherers anymore. We are spreadsheet warriors and email responders living in environments we have carefully engineered to be as predictable and safe as possible. We have created a world optimized for comfort and routine, which means we have accidentally created a world optimized for making time disappear. Your home looks the same every day. Your route to work is identical. Your grocery store never changes layout, except when it does, and you want to burn the place down, because where did they move the pasta? Even your entertainment is algorithm curated to show you more of what you already like. You exist in a bubble of carefully constructed familiarity, and your brain is coasting through it on minimal power. The novelty centers are barely firing. The memory encoding systems are on standby. You are alive, technically, but you are not really experiencing much. You are on autopilot, and autopilot does not create memories. Now let me introduce you to one of the key concepts in time perception, the proportional theory, and it is going to make you feel weird about basic math. When you are 5 years old, 1 year represents 20% of your entire life. That is massive. That is a huge chunk of your existence. 1 year is a really big deal. It feels substantial because it is, relative to everything you have experienced. When you are 10, 1 year is 10% of your life. Still significant. Still notable. When you are 50, 1 year is 2%. It is a rounding error. It barely registers on the scale of your total existence. Your brain seems to judge time relative to how long you have been alive. Each year becomes a smaller fraction of your whole life, so it feels proportionally less significant. Each birthday passes faster than the last, because it represents a smaller percentage of your total experience. This is why childhood feels so long, and adulthood feels like it is on fast forward. The math literally changed, but it is not just about math and proportions. There is something much deeper happening at the neural level, something about how your brain actually constructs the experience of time. And this is where it gets really interesting. Your brain does not have a clock. There is no little timepiece in there ticking away seconds. Time is not measured directly. Instead, your subjective experience of time emerges from how your brain processes and stores information. Your brain estimates time based on how much happened. Imagine you are in a waiting room. Nothing is happening. You are just sitting there staring at a wall. Maybe there is a clock, and you are watching the second hand crawl around. Every minute feels like an eternity. You are bored out of your skull. Your brain has nothing to process, nothing to encode, so it turns its attention to time itself. And when you are watching time, when you are monitoring it, it slows to a crawl. You have lived this boring meetings that last forever, long flights, waiting for medical test results. When your brain has nothing else to do, it obsesses over time, and time feels slow and painful. Now imagine you are doing something you love, deep in conversation with a friend, playing a video game you are obsessed with, reading a book you cannot put down, working on a project that has you in flow state. Hours evaporate. You look up and it is suddenly 3 a.m., and you have no idea where the time went. In the moment when you are deeply engaged, time flies. But here is the paradox that is going to break your brain a little. That boring waiting room time that felt so slow in the moment, it vanishes completely from memory. A week later you barely remember it. It takes up almost no space in your mind. Meanwhile, the engaging time, the time that flew by in the moment, that creates actual memories. You remember that conversation, that game session, that book. When you look back on it, It feels substantial. So we have two completely different types of time: prospective time, which is how time feels while it is happening, and retrospective time, which is how long something feels when you remember it later. And they often move in opposite directions. Boring time feels slow prospectively, but disappears retrospectively. Engaging time feels fast prospectively, but expands retrospectively. If you want a life that feels long and rich, you need to optimize for retrospective time. You need to create memories, because at the end of your life, you are not going to remember how time felt moment to moment. You are going to look back at your memories, and if you do not have many, if most of your days compress down to nothing, your life will feel short, even if you live to 100. Let me give you a perfect example. Think about a vacation you took somewhere really different from home, maybe another country, different language, different food, different everything. While you were there, days probably felt pretty full, right? Maybe even overwhelming. So much new information to process. Your brain was working overtime. That 1 week of vacation probably created more distinct memories than the entire month before you left. When you got home and someone asked how long you were gone, it probably felt like you were away for ages. Your brain packed so much into that week. So many new experiences, so much novelty, that it occupies a large chunk of your mental space. Now compare that to a regular week at home. Monday through Friday doing your normal routine. What happened? Can you even remember? Probably not. The whole week compressed down to a tiny fragment. Standard week, nothing unusual. File it away and forget it. Same amount of actual time passed. 7 days is 7 days according to physics, but your experience of those 7 days is radically different. One feels long and rich. The other feels like it barely existed. This is the key to understanding why time accelerates as you age. It is about memory formation, and memory formation depends on two critical factors: attention and novelty. When you pay attention, when you are fully present and engaged, your brain encodes richer memories. When you are on autopilot, barely conscious, your brain encodes almost nothing. When experiences are novel, when they are new and unfamiliar, your brain flags them as potentially important and records them in detail. When experiences are routine and familiar, your brain compresses them aggressively to save resources. So if you want to slow down time, if you want your life to feel longer, you need to do two things: pay more attention and seek more novelty. Sounds simple, right? It is not, because your brain actively resists both of those things. Your brain wants to conserve energy. It wants to run on autopilot. It wants familiar, predictable routines. Fighting against that takes conscious effort. But the alternative is watching your life disappear in a blur of identical days. So maybe it is worth the effort. Let me tell you about the neuroscience of this, because it is fascinating. Your brain has multiple regions involved in time perception. The prefrontal cortex handles planning and thinking about future time. The basal ganglia is involved in rhythm and interval timing. The cerebellum does precise motor timing. The hippocampus is crucial for memory formation and temporal sequences, remembering what happened when. The insula processes your internal body states and contributes to your immediate sense of time passing. All these regions talk to each other constantly. They integrate information from your senses, your body, your emotions, your memories. Together they construct your subjective experience of the present moment. But this system is incredibly flexible. It changes based on what you are doing, how you are feeling, what neurochemicals are flowing through your synapses. When you are afraid, when you are in danger, your amygdala sounds the alarm. It tells the rest of your brain, pay attention. This is important, we might die here. Your brain shifts into overdrive, sensory processing sharpens, memory encoding goes into high gear. This is why time seems to slow down during a car accident or a close call. Your brain is recording everything at a much higher frame rate than normal. You are capturing more information per second. Later, when you replay that memory, you have so much detail that it feels like the event lasted longer than it actually did. Like watching a slow-motion video, more frames per second means it takes longer to play back, even though the actual duration was the same. Your brain does this because in a life or death situation, details matter. That extra information could save your life next time. Better to record too much than too little when survival is on the line. The same mechanism, though less intense, kicks in with positive novel experiences. When you are somewhere new, doing something you have never done, meeting new people, your brain does not know what is important yet, so it records more, it pays closer attention, it encodes richer memories, just in case. As the experience becomes familiar, as you repeat it, your brain learns the pattern. It figures out what actually matters and starts ignoring the rest. The encoding becomes more efficient, more compressed, less detail. When you remember it later, there is less there, so it feels shorter. Psychologists call this the oddball effect. If you show someone a sequence of images, mostly identical, but one clearly different, that oddball image will seem to last longer, even though all images appear for the same duration. Your brain gives extra processing time to the unusual stimulus. It stands out in memory. Your life works exactly the same way. The oddball experiences, the novel moments, those stand out. Those feel longer retrospectively. The routine and familiar blurs together into an undifferentiated mass. One long identical day repeated endlessly. So if you want time to slow down, you need to become the curator of your own oddball experiences. You need to deliberately inject novelty into your existence. And before you panic thinking you need to quit your job and backpack through Asia, relax. Small novelties work too. The key is breaking patterns, making your brain actually engage instead of coasting. Take a different route to work once a week. You will notice things you have never seen before, even though they have been there the whole time. Your brain has to update its map. It has to pay attention. Try a new coffee shop. Order something you have never had. Your brain evaluates new information. Is this good? Will I come back? That is engagement. That is memory formation. Rearrange your furniture. Sounds silly, but your brain has a spatial map of your home. Change it and your brain has to recalibrate. It has to pay attention instead of navigating on autopilot. These tiny changes will not revolutionize your life, but they create small flags in your memory, little markers that help your brain distinguish Tuesday from Wednesday. Instead of the whole week compressing into one generic memory, you get variation. Today was the day I tried that weird coffee place. Today was the day I took the scenic route. Small differences add up. Let me tell you about a study that illustrates this perfectly. Researchers had participants listen to a series of tones. Most were identical, but occasionally they played a different tone. Afterward, they asked people to estimate how long each tone lasted. Participants consistently estimated the oddball tones lasted longer, even though every single tone was exactly the same duration. The novel stimulus got extra attention. It was encoded more richly, so it felt longer in memory. Your brain is doing this with your life experiences constantly. Routine gets minimal encoding. Novelty gets the premium treatment. Want more of your life to feel substantial? Make more of it novel. Now let us talk about attention, because this is the other half of the equation. You can have novel experiences, but if you are not paying attention to them, they will not create memories. And if they do not create memories, they will not expand your sense of time. How often do you eat a meal while doing something else? Watching TV, scrolling your phone, working through lunch. Your attention is split. Actually, your attention is on the screen, and the food is just fuel you are mechanically consuming. You finish eating and you barely remember it. Your brain compressed it to calories consumed, moving on. Now imagine eating that same meal with full attention. You look at the food, notice colors and arrangement. You smell it. You take a bite and actually register the flavors. The texture, how it changes as you chew. The temperature. You are fully present for eating. That meal might take the same clock time, but your experience is completely different. You actually lived those 15 minutes, instead of unconsciously shoveling food into your face. And later you will have a memory of that meal. It will exist as a distinct event instead of vanishing into the void. This is what mindfulness actually means. Not the Instagram wellness influencer version with expensive yoga mats. The actual neuroscience of paying attention to your present experience. When you practice mindfulness, when you deliberately bring full attention to what is happening right now, you are doing something crucial for time perception. You are telling your brain, this moment matters. Encode this. I want to remember being alive right now. Studies show that people who regularly practice mindfulness meditation report feeling like they have more time, not because they are doing less, not because they found some productivity hack, but because they are actually present for their life. They are not losing hours to autopilot. They are not mentally time traveling to past or future while the present slips by unnoticed. Think about your morning routine. For most people, it is completely automatic. You could probably do it while genuinely asleep. Your brain has optimized it into a series of motor programs that run without conscious input. Wake, bathroom, shower, coffee, dress, leave. You arrive at work with zero memory of the morning. It just happened somewhere in the background. Now imagine doing that routine with full attention. You wake up and you actually notice waking up, the transition from unconsciousness to consciousness. You feel the sheets against your skin, notice the temperature of the room, the quality of light. You get up and you are aware of your body moving. In the shower you feel the water, notice the sound it makes, how it feels hitting your skin, the smell of your soap. You make coffee and you are present. The sound of beans grinding, the smell of fresh grounds, the warmth of the mug in your hands. That first sip, this takes the same amount of time, maybe even less, because you are not distracted, but your experience is radically different. You actually lived your morning instead of sleepwalking through it. Do this consistently and your life starts to feel longer. Not because you added more years, but because you are actually present for the years you have. I know what you are thinking. This sounds exhausting. You are not wrong. Being fully present takes effort. Your brain does not want to do it. Your brain wants to conserve energy. Autopilot is the path of least resistance. But here is the question you need to ask yourself. Do you want your life to be easy and forgettable or challenging and memorable? Because increasingly those are the options. The easy path is letting routines run automatically. Let your brain coast. Do the same things the same way every day. It is comfortable, low effort, and the years will vanish like smoke. You will get to 70 or 80 and feel like you blinked and missed it. Because in a very real sense you did. You were not paying attention. The challenging path is actively fighting autopilot, seeking novelty, paying attention, being present. It is harder. It requires conscious effort every single day. But the reward is a life that feels full, a life rich with actual memories, a life where you look back and feel like you experienced it instead of just existing through it. Let me share something personal. I have spent years optimizing my life for efficiency. Same routine every day, minimal variation, maximum productivity. And those years are gone now. I can barely remember them. They compressed down to almost nothing, because nothing notable happened. Every day was identical. My brain had nothing to distinguish Monday from Friday, so it filed them all under standard operating procedure. Nothing to report. I lost years to efficiency, and I will never get them back. That realization kind of shattered me for a while, but then I got curious. I started researching the neuroscience of time perception, started understanding why this happens, and more importantly, how to fight back. Now I deliberately inject controlled chaos into my life. I make myself do new things regularly. I learn new skills. I take different routes. I have uncomfortable conversations. I break my routines intentionally, because I know what routines cost. They cost time. They cost memories. They cost the feeling of having truly lived. Is it sometimes uncomfortable? Absolutely. Learning new things is hard. Unfamiliar situations create stress. Breaking routines generates friction. But you know what? I remember these experiences. They stick. They make my months and years feel substantial. I can look back on the last year and actually tell you what happened. It did not vanish. I was there. And that is worth every bit of discomfort. Here is another piece of the puzzle. Learning, when you learn something new, especially something genuinely challenging, time slows down, both in the moment and in memory. Learning requires intense focus. Your brain has to form new neural connections, process unfamiliar information, coordinate new motor patterns. All of this takes serious computational resources, and when your brain is working that hard, time feels different. Remember learning to drive. Those first few lessons where every single moment required complete concentration. Check mirrors. Watch speed. Stay in lane. Signal. Watch other cars. Watch pedestrians. Hands at 10 and 2. Your brain was juggling a dozen processes simultaneously. Every second felt deliberate, because your brain was maxed out. Now think about your drive yesterday. Probably do not remember it at all. Driving is background process now. Your brain does it while you think about something completely different. You lost the time expanding effect of learning, because you already know how to drive. So here is a powerful hack. Never stop learning. Always have something new and challenging. You are working on, learn an instrument. Learn a language. Learn to cook cuisines you have never attempted. Learn to draw. Learn to code. Learn woodworking. Learn dance. Learn anything that pushes you outside your current skill set. The struggle of learning, the frustration and incremental progress, and occasional breakthroughs, all of that creates rich, detailed experience. Those weeks or months of learning will occupy significant mental space. They will feel like they lasted a long time. Compare that to weeks or months where you just did things you already know how to do. Which version of your life do you want more of? Let us talk about the social dimension, because this is huge and underappreciated. Novel social experiences, deep conversations, meaningful interactions with new people. These expand time just like any other novelty. Your brain is wired to pay intense attention to social information. It is evolutionarily critical. Understanding other people, navigating social dynamics, building relationships. These were literally survival skills for most of human history. So your brain gives social experiences serious processing power. A 3-hour conversation with someone new, especially if you are really connecting, challenging each other's thinking, being vulnerable and authentic, that will feel substantial, both in the moment and in memory. You will remember that conversation. It will stand out. Compare that to 3 hours scrolling social media. Brief dopamine hits from likes, superficial interactions, no real depth, no genuine connection. That time will evaporate. You will finish scrolling with almost no memory of what you saw. Your brain encoded almost nothing, because nothing meaningful happened. The quality of your social life directly affects how long your life feels. This is why college often feels so long in retrospect. It is not just that you are young, it is that you are having intense social experiences constantly. New friends, deep 2 a.m. conversations about the meaning of life, relationship drama, collaborative all-nighters. Your brain is encoding all of it. In contrast, if your adult social life consists of small talk with co-workers and occasional texts with friends you rarely see, that is not creating rich memories. It is not expanding time. You need depth. You need novelty. You need genuine connection. Seek out conversations that challenge you. Meet new people. Join communities built around shared interests. Have dinners where you actually talk instead of staring at screens. Ask real questions. Share real parts of yourself. This requires vulnerability. It takes effort, but it creates the experiences that make life feel rich. Now the elephant in the room, screens and technology. I am not going to tell you phones are evil. That is not realistic or helpful, but we need brutal honesty about what they do to time perception. Your phone is engineered to capture and hold your attention. The apps you use have been optimized by some of the smartest people on Earth to be maximally engaging. The algorithms are designed to keep you scrolling, and it works devastatingly well. You pick up your phone to check one thing, and suddenly 45 minutes have evaporated. Where did they go? What did you do? You scrolled, you consumed content. Brief videos, memes, headlines. An endless stream of bite-sized information designed to give you just enough stimulation to keep going but never enough depth to be memorable. This is time evaporation in its purest form. While you are scrolling, it feels like something is happening. Your brain gets little novelty hits with each new post. Little dopamine bumps, but none of it is substantial enough to encode as real memory. So you scroll for an hour and your brain compresses it down to stare at glowing rectangle. Nothing important. Discard. That hour is gone forever. And unlike time spent sleeping, which serves biological functions, time spent mindlessly scrolling gives you essentially nothing. You are not rested. You are not enriched. You do not have new memories or skills or relationships. You just lost an hour of your finite existence. I am not saying never use your phone. That is absurd. Phones are useful tools, but be intentional. Notice when you are using it for a purpose versus when you have fallen into the scroll hole. Notice how much time you actually spend versus how much you think you spend. Most people dramatically underestimate their screen time. Check your usage statistics. You might be horrified. Maybe consider trading some screen time for activities that create actual memories. Read a physical book, the kind of deep reading that requires sustained attention. Have face-to-face conversations without phones on the table. Go for walks without headphones, without podcasts, just you and your thoughts and your surroundings. Cook something complicated that requires focus. Build something with your hands. Create something. Draw. Write. Make music. These activities require more effort than scrolling. They are harder. Your brain resists them, but they give you something in return. They give you time. They give you memories. They give you the feeling that you actually lived those hours instead of just passing through them unconscious. Let us zoom out and look at the big picture. You have finite time. Let us say you live to 80. That is roughly 29,000 days. Sounds like a lot, but you have already used a chunk of them, and a massive percentage of your remaining days will be consumed by necessary maintenance. Sleep takes about a third of your life. Work takes another third if you are employed full-time. Add commuting, chores, basic hygiene, and your actual free time. The time that is genuinely yours is shockingly small. So the question becomes, what will you do with that time? Will you let it slip away on autopilot, compressed and forgotten, or will you fight for it? Here is a framework that might help. Think of your life as containing 3 types of time. First, maintenance time. Sleep, showering, laundry, grocery shopping, paying bills, necessary but not particularly memorable. This time will compress. That is okay. You cannot make brushing your teeth deeply meaningful, and you should not try. Second, flow time. Work you are engaged in, hobbies you love, activities where you lose yourself. This time feels fast in the moment, but creates memories. It feels meaningful. This is good time. You want more of this. Third, novel time. New experiences, learning, travel, deep conversations, challenges, meeting new people. This time might feel slow or uncomfortable in the moment because your brain is working hard, but it creates the richest, most detailed memories. This is what makes life feel long and full retrospectively. Most people's lives skew heavily toward maintenance time, with some flow time and very little novel time, and that is why years accelerate. If you want to change your time experience, you need to consciously allocate more to flow and novel categories. You need to protect that time, schedule it, treat it as important as work, because it is. It is literally the mechanism that makes your life feel substantial. Here is a thought experiment. Imagine you are 80 years old, sitting somewhere quiet looking back. What do you want to remember? A vague sense of being busy and tired, or specific memories? Trips you took, skills you mastered, people you loved, challenges you overcame, conversations that changed you, things you created. The memories are what matter. The memories are your life in the most real sense. Clock time is the same for everyone, but experience time, retrospective time, the feeling of how long and rich your life was, that is determined entirely by what you remember, and what you remember is determined by what you paid attention to and how novel it was. You have agency here. You cannot stop time. You cannot add hours to the day, but you can change how those hours feel. You can make your life feel longer by being present and seeking novelty. Let me give you concrete strategies you can start using immediately. First, practice attention. Start with just one activity per day. Pick something routine. Your morning coffee, your commute, your shower. Do it with full attention. No multitasking, no phone. Just be present. Notice details. This trains your attention like a muscle. Second, introduce micro-novelties. Take a different route once a week. Try a new restaurant. Visit a neighborhood you have never explored. Start a conversation with a stranger. Read about something you know nothing about. These small novelties create variation and wake your brain up. Third, commit to learning something challenging. Pick a skill genuinely outside your current abilities and work on it consistently. The learning process itself expands time. Fourth, reduce passive consumption. Track your screen time for 1 week, then try reducing it by even 20%. Use that time for active engagement, creating instead of consuming, connecting instead of scrolling. Fifth, schedule novel experiences. Put them on your calendar like appointments. Once a month, do something you have never done. It does not have to be expensive or elaborate, just new. The regularity ensures your year is not one blur. Sixth, reflect regularly. Once a week, take 15 minutes to think back. What happened? What do you remember? This reflection helps consolidate memories. It signals to your brain these experiences matter. You can journal or just sit and think, but the act of reflection makes experiences more solid. Now I know this sounds like work. It is work. Being present is work. Seeking novelty is work. Learning is work. It is much easier to coast, to let routines run automatically, to scroll instead of engage. But you are going to reach the end one way or another. The only question is whether you will feel like you lived it, or whether it will feel like you blinked and it was over. The science is absolutely clear. Time perception is not fixed, it is malleable. Based on attention and novelty, and memory formation. You cannot control clock time, but you can control your experience of time. You can make your life feel longer and richer, or you can let it evaporate in a comfortable haze. The choice moment by moment is yours. Here is something crucial. You do not have to be perfect. You do not need to be mindful every second or constantly seeking novelty. That is unsustainable. You would burn out in a week. The goal is not eliminating all routine or living in perpetual heightened awareness. The goal is being more intentional, waking from autopilot more often, punctuating routine with moments of genuine presence and novelty. Small changes compound dramatically. If you make just one day per week feel substantially different from the others, that is 52 memorable days per year, instead of 365 identical ones. That is a massive difference in how your year feels retrospectively. If you bring full attention to just one meal per day, that is 365 present moments you would not have had otherwise. These accumulate. They build a life that feels rich instead of rushed. Let me also acknowledge that some routine is good. Some autopilot is necessary. You cannot and should not eliminate it. Routine provides stability. It reduces decision fatigue. It allows you to function without constant cognitive load. The problem is not routine itself. The problem is when your entire life becomes routine, when you stop having new experiences altogether, when you stop paying attention to anything. That is when time disappears at an alarming rate. Think of it like diet. You need staple foods you eat regularly, but if you ate exactly the same meal every day for years, you would barely remember any individual meal. They would blur together. Whereas if you occasionally try something new, those experiences stand out. You remember them. Same with life. You need routines. But you also need variation. You need occasional surprises, occasional challenges, occasional adventures, even if that adventure is trying a new hobby or visiting a new park. Another point. The relationship between happiness and time is complex. Things that make you happiest in the moment, comfortable routines and easy pleasures, often do not create lasting memories. They feel good, but they disappear. Meanwhile, challenging experiences, learning new skills, pushing yourself, these might be uncomfortable in the moment, but they create rich memories. They make time feel substantial. So you need both. Some comfort for daily well-being, some challenge for long-term richness. It is a balance, and the balance differs for everyone. Some people thrive on constant novelty, others need more stability. You have to figure out what works for you. But whatever your balance is, make it intentional. Choose it rather than defaulting to whatever is easiest, because the easiest path leads to a life that evaporates. I want to talk about age and perspective. When you are young, time feels slow, partly because everything is new, but also because you lack perspective. You have not experienced enough to know what matters. You spend mental energy worrying about things that will not matter in 5 years. As you age, you gain wisdom. You learn what actually matters. You become more efficient with attention and energy. This is valuable, but it comes at a cost. The cost is you engage less with things that seem unimportant. You filter more aggressively. You default to routine because you figured out what works. The challenge is keeping wisdom and perspective while reclaiming novelty and attention. Stay curious even when you think you know answers. Stay open to new experiences, even when comfortable routine is calling. Stay engaged even when autopilot is easier. This goes against your brain's natural inclinations, but it is the price of a rich life. Let me share one more reflection. I have been doing this work, this conscious effort to slow time, for a few years now. I can tell you it works. Not perfectly. I still have weeks that vanish. I still catch myself on autopilot, but overall my years feel longer now. I can remember them. I can tell you specific things that happened. I have stories. I have growth. I have memories. And when I compare this to the years I lost to pure routine, the difference is staggering. Those lost years feel like they barely happened. These recent years feel full, like I actually lived them, and that feeling, that sense of having truly experienced your life, is worth all the effort and discomfort, because at the end, when you are looking back, the only thing you have is memories. The only measure of your life is what you remember. Everything else is gone. So make memories, pay attention, seek novelty, be present, fight the comfortable erosion of autopilot. Your future self, the one looking back, will thank you. Now I want you to do something. After you finish this video, take a moment, think about your last week. What do you actually remember? Can you recall specific days, specific moments, or has it blurred into a vague sense of being busy? Be honest. No judgment, just notice. Then think about one small change you could make this coming week. One thing to make it more memorable. Could you try something new? Bring full attention to one daily activity. Have a deeper conversation. Learn something. Pick one thing. Just one. Do it. See how it feels. See if that week feels different when you look back. Then maybe do it again next week, and the week after. Small changes, consistent effort. That is how you build a life that feels long and rich. Before we close, I want to leave you with a question. Not for me, for yourself. If you continue living the way you are living now, with your current balance of routine and novelty, attention and autopilot, how will the next 10 years feel? Will they feel like 10 years? Or will they feel like 1 year repeated 10 times? Will you remember them? Will they be full of experiences worth recalling? Or will they vanish like the years before? Only you can answer that, and only you can decide whether the answer is acceptable. You know what the strangest part about all this is? You are watching this video right now, this moment, and your brain is deciding, even as we speak, whether to encode this as a memory or compress it into nothing. Whether you are fully present or partially elsewhere, whether this time will feel substantial later or evaporate. You have the power to make this moment matter, to actually be here, not thinking about what you need to do later, not mentally replaying something from earlier, just here, now, listening. Thinking, feeling whatever you are feeling. This moment is happening once, it will never come again. Every moment is like that. Unrepeatable, unique, and most of them vanish unnoticed because we are not paying attention. What a strange way to spend a life, letting most of it slip by while we are thinking about something else. But it does not have to be that way. You can choose differently, starting right now. Notice your breathing. Notice the surface you are sitting or lying on. Notice the temperature of the air, the sounds around you. You are alive, right now, in this specific moment that has never existed before and will never exist again, and you get to choose whether to be here for it or not. That choice, multiplied across thousands of moments, becomes your life, becomes whether your years feel full or empty, long or short, rich or barren. It all comes down to attention, to presence, to choosing to be here instead of everywhere else. Let me tell you what I hope happens after you finish this video. I hope you do not just move on to the next thing on autopilot. I hope you pause, take a breath, look around, actually see where you are, actually feel the moment. Then I hope you think about one small thing you can do differently. One way to bring more attention or novelty into your days. And I hope you do that thing. Not someday. This week, today, if possible. Because the years are not going to slow down on their own. The acceleration will continue. Unless you intervene. Unless you make the conscious choice to live differently. To pay attention. To seek new experiences. To be present for your own life. This is not easy. Your brain will resist. Your habits will pull you back. The comfortable numbness of routine will call to you. You will forget. You will slip back into autopilot, and that is okay. This is not about perfection. It is about trying, about remembering to wake up, about catching yourself on autopilot, and choosing to be present again and again, as many times as it takes. Each time you make that choice, you reclaim a piece of your life. You turn time that would have vanished into time that matters, time that you actually experience, time that becomes a memory instead of disappearing into the void. And those pieces add up, day by day, week by week, year by year, until you look back and realize you actually lived. You were there, you were there, you remember it. Your life feels full because it was full, not with achievements necessarily, not with accomplishments or accolades, but with presence, with attention, with the feeling of having actually been alive for your own existence. That is what this is really about. Not some productivity hack, not optimizing your time, but actually being present for the time you have, however much that is, whether it is 10 more years or 50. Making those years feel real, feel substantial, feel lived. So here is my challenge to you. For the next week, just 1 week, try something different. Each day, pick one routine activity and do it with full attention, completely present. No phone, no mental wandering, just that activity. Notice what you notice. See how it feels. Then, at some point during the week, do one thing you have never done before. It can be small. Absurdly small. Try a food you have never tasted. Take a street you have never walked down. Start a conversation with someone you would normally not talk to. Just one new thing. At the end of the week, reflect. How did the week feel? Can you remember it better than usual? Does it feel like it lasted longer? Did any moment stand out? I am genuinely curious. Come back and leave a comment telling me how it went, what you noticed, what changed, because this is not just theoretical. This is not just interesting neuroscience. This is your life, your time, your experience of being alive, and it matters more than almost anything else. If you found this helpful, if it resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want more deep dives into how your brain works and how to work with it instead of against it. And share this with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who keeps saying they do not know where the time goes. Someone who might be sleepwalking through their life without realizing it. Before I let you go, I want to acknowledge something. This might have made you uncomfortable, looking at how much time you have lost. How much of your life has vanished into autopilot, how the years are accelerating. That discomfort is normal. It is even good. It means you are waking up. It means you are starting to see the pattern, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. You will start noticing when you are on autopilot, when time is slipping away, when you are not really present, and that awareness, as uncomfortable as it is the first step to changing. You cannot change what you do not notice. So if this made you squirm a little, good. Sit with that. Let it motivate you. Let it wake you up, because your life is happening right now. Not later, not someday, now, this moment. And the next one, and the next. Each one a choice between presence and absence, between attention and autopilot, between creating memories and letting time evaporate. Choose presence. Choose attention. Choose to actually be here for your life. Not perfectly, not every moment, but more often, a little more each day. Your future self, looking back on these years, will be grateful you did. Thank you for spending this time with me, for being present, at least for these moments. I hope it was worth remembering. I am the sleepy computer scientist, reminding you that you cannot add more time to your life, but you can add more life to your time. Stay curious, stay present, stay awake, and I will see you in the next one.